Military working dogs, MWD, are some of the best trained canines in the world. Military working dog handlers, MWDHs, train dogs using most of the same techniques as civilian dog trainers, so the instructions they give to specially selected MWDs can also work with your pup at home. Today, we'll tell you how military dogs are trained. Number 8. Patient and positive approach. Take a patient, positive approach that has no timetable. You might assume that training methods inspired by the military must be harsh and rigid, but that's not the case with dog training. Military trainers don't set specific timetables for the dogs to achieve certain benchmarks, and they don't try to force the dog to learn. Before they can take on the job, military dog trainers must demonstrate patience and understanding when working with dogs. Just like people, some dogs learn faster than others, and some dogs may never be able to learn everything you try to teach them. Your dog has the best chance to learn both quickly and effectively if you avoid arbitrary goals and a negative training environment. Not everyone is cut out to be a dog trainer either. If you know you don't have the patience or positivity needed for the role, hire a professional dog trainer who utilizes military-style techniques. You can't rush dog training. Some dogs pick things up faster than others. Military working dogs, or MWDs, are trained for 4 to 7 months in basic skills before they are officially called an MWD. If your dog isn't grasping basic tasks, you can't move on to the more advanced. Basic obedience, sit, down, stay, is the foundation of all further training. 7. Build a positive relationship. Build a positive relationship with the dog right from the start. It's important that you quickly show yourself as the alpha, that is the leader in your pairing, but that you do so through camaraderie, not threats or force. If you don't already have an established relationship with the dog, spend a few days or even weeks taking care of its needs before you start training it. Show it that you are the provider who can be relied on. If you already do have a relationship with the dog, spend a few days emphasizing your roles as provider and leader. Take care of feeding, walking, cleaning, and so on yourself, without treating them like unwanted chores. Daily grooming is a good way to both build a positive bond and check the dog for potential medical issues. Military trainers typically groom their dogs every day. You have to build a relationship. The first thing you do upon meeting your new MWD is begin to build rapport. If you take home a brand new puppy, you begin training by establishing a relationship with the dog. So with many dogs in a unit's kennel, handlers take turns dropping food pans for the dogs twice a day. But when a handler partners with a new dog, it's a good idea to let that handler drop their dog's food for a few days to establish a good bond. The dog begins to associate the handler with good things. Number 6. Groom your dog every day. Grooming your dog helps build the relationship, keeps the dog clean and healthy, and lets you check them over from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail for any problems. With hair covering most of them, dogs can have serious issues developing that you can't see until you brush them. If your dog is running around in wooded areas, check in their ears, the paws, and between their paw pads for ticks. Even with preventive medication, ticks can bite dogs and infect them with multiple diseases that can be devastating or deadly. Even a small cut on the paw can turn into something bigger if not treated properly, and dogs that don't feel good aren't good students. Number 5. Consistent training sessions. Schedule consistent training sessions in a low-distraction location. Military trainers may not use grid timetables for success, but they do use predictable training schedules. Choose 1 or 2 specific times each day for training, and hold training sessions in the same location each time. Look for a low-distraction training location, like an enclosed backyard or an isolated corner of the park. One of the reasons why dogs tend to make great soldiers is that they usually thrive on predictable schedules. Holding the training sessions at the same time each day helps your dog slip into training mode more easily. military dogs typically train for at least 4 hours per week and at least 30 hours per day. Aim for 1 30-minute or 2 15-minute sessions per day, 6 to 7 days a week. During this rapport-building time, start laying the foundations for the training that you want to do with your dog. Don't let them get away with things that you won't accept later. Reward their good behavior with praise, attention, play, or treats. Once training begins, consistency is going to be key to getting good results. If you are training the dog to sit, set the dog up to succeed by training in the same area every time. Keep your voice the same. Don't change the way you say the command. Don't give the command unless you are prepared to reward. 4. Positive reinforcement. Rely entirely on positive reinforcement to instruct the dog. Positive reinforcement is the preferred method for all types of dog training, military style or otherwise. At its core, it means immediately identifying, praising, and rewarding positive behaviors and identifying but not punishing negative behaviors. For instance, while house training a dog, positive reinforcement means immediately responding anytime the dog goes potty properly with specific praise. Good job, Scout, you went potty outside. And possibly a physical reward like a toy or treat. Number 3, teach instructional commands. Teach instructional commands like sit with clear verbal and hand cues. Like military dog handlers and most dog trainers of all types, start with one of the basic instructional commands, such as sit, down, heel, or stay, and master a single command at a time. Speak the command clearly and provide a distinct visual cue, such as a hand motion, at the same time. Provide subtle guidance as needed, such as nudging, but never forcefully pushing the dog into a seated position. Don't shout the commands or show anger or displeasure when the dog doesn't comply properly. Remember to keep your cool and stay positive. The instructional commands you teach beyond the basics like sit, down, heel, and stay depend upon your needs and the dog's abilities. Military dogs may learn commands for things like detecting explosives or subduing enemies that you won't need to teach, but the instructional methods remain largely the same. 2. Not punishing. Teach the dog not to do things by ignoring, not punishing the dog. For instance, if the dog tends to jump up on you as a greeting, don't tell it no or give a command like sit. Instead, walk away to somewhere the dog cannot follow, ideally by closing a door so it can't see you, and return after around 20 seconds. Repeat the process until the dog consistently learns what not to do, and reward it as normal for successes. Saying no or giving alternate commands will just confuse the dog and make it think the unwanted behavior, such as jumping, is part of the command. Punishing the dog through scolding or any type of physical abuse is completely unhelpful. Since you're the alpha, the dog craves your attention and approval. Ignoring it briefly is a mild form of corrective punishment that the dog can understand and learn from. Number 1, look for dogs' capabilities. Identify, adapt to, and work around the dog's weaknesses. Military dogs are specialized canines. The U.S. military, for instance, runs its own breeding program and makes targeted purchases of primarily German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, and Pit Bulls. Even so, only about 50% of the canines make the cut as military work dogs, MWD. Your dog is even less likely to have this high level of training capability, so be realistic about what it can and cannot achieve. Potential MWDs may come up short in their capability to identify explosives or drugs, for instance. You likely aren't going to do training in these areas, but you may find that your dog isn't well suited to something like obeying heel commands. Don't give up completely in that area, but also be realistic and focus your training in other areas. Please subscribe to The Amazing Dog. Thanks for watching.